So I'm Sandrine Fotso. I am a wife, a mother of 4 beautiful children. One being on the spectrum, his name is Ethan. Ethan is now 11 years old. He got diagnosed at the age of 3, almost 3. He was 2 years and 9 months when we got the diagnosis of autism. And of course, it's very, very difficult. As a mother, when you are pregnant, you kind of dreaming about what you expect your child to be, you have big dreams.
What led to that diagnosis?
At home, I have, Ethan is my second child. So I had Kevin, which is my first son before, and he was developing fine. He was following the milestone, because when you go to the pediatrician, there is a certain milestone that the kid should get. Yeah. Like, for example, by the age of 6 months, latest 8 months, the kid should crawl. If he doesn't crawl, there is a problem of, in the motricity of the kid. A motor, maybe gross motor and everything, you have to seek for help. So there is certain milestone that kids need to achieve for the age. So I've noticed that Ethan he crawled very fast. He was a very good eater as a baby. What I've noticed when he was baby, he wouldn't smile that much. And I'm a type of mom who always giggle my kids. I like to play with them,
Right.
I like to go to the mirror and then look at them. Oh, look at you. But Ethan was not reacting. The way he was reacting, he was just like a blank face.
He wasn't interacting.
He wasn't interacting. So this was the first thing that caught my attention. And that was at the age of 6 months. So when I went to the doctor, I remember I told that to the doctor, I'm like, I've been noticing this on my child. And I feel like, is it his personality that he's not a smiling baby? Because my first one was smiling. Kevin was so like a happy baby. And, as a second child, you're like, oh, he's going to look like his brother. So the doctor told me, he maybe has his personality, maybe he doesn't like it. So she was kind of reassuring me, like, don't worry, it's nothing, serious. Don't stress out too much. He will be fine. As a mom, I am convinced that the link that we have with our babies in the womb is very powerful. He was developing fine in the motricity, like he was having normal motor, gross motor. Fine motor was a little bit an issue, a problem, because I've noticed, usually there is certain toys per age. So I would put it in front of Ethan, but he barely touched them. So it was like, he doesn't smile that much. He's not playing that much with his toys. What is going on with him? And I was talking to my husband. He was telling me, oh, Kevin looks more like you. He's going to look like me. We are more quiet. You guys you are agitated. Because my husband always says, I talk a lot. He's like, you talk too much. Quiet. He's a calm, in the calm way. So I'm like, oh, life needs to move, I don't like life that when it's boring. Let's do something. Let's have a party. Let's invite people. But my husband is more like a calm person.
You have a bubbly personality.
Yes. This is another thing that I've noticed. The only time Ethan will have eye contact with me when I was breastfeeding. But like he's playing with his brother, and then I'm going to call Kevin, pay attention to this with Ethan. And then I say, Ethan, no. When you call a child and you say Ethan, normally you should turn around. Normally, this is another, red flag.
Red flag.
That's a red flag. There is eye contact. There is not turning around when you call the name. And with those kids, it might take maybe 10 times. When you call them, they don't answer. They don't respond. It's a red flag. Maybe because I had a son who was doing all those things, that it was a kind of example for me, Kevin. My mother, like he talked at the age of 18 months. So I was expecting Ethan to talk at the age of 18 months. Kevin got clean, at the age of 2.5. And people was even complimented me. Wow, your son is clean, 2.5. Usually girls, but boys are very lazy. So I was expecting all that, on Ethan as well, but nothing.
So you started noticing things kind of pretty soon. Then maybe around 6 months, you talk to the pediatrician who reassures you, and then he turns 1, and
yes.
Did he start walking?
Actually, he walks fast. He walks at the age of 7 months.
Oh wow!
Wow, he was wow. And we came here. Ethan was born in October. We came here in January. A year and 3 months. 15 months.
Okay.
I remember I went to the park with my first one, Kevin. He loved soccer. And I said, okay, we're going to play all 3. Let's kick the ball to me, and then I kick to Ethan, and Ethan, you kick to Kevin back. Never happened. Ethan was like he was in his world. He was not there. And I'm an emotional person. I start to cry.
But just another question also, Sandrine. Yeah. So all that time, was he still was he babbling or doing sounds or words?
Yes, good question. At that time, he was copying everything we were telling him, like or saying to Kevin. Like, for example, I'm going to say, Kevin, kick the ball. Ethan going to say, Kevin kicks the ball.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was talking. He was saying mama. He was saying daddy. He was saying bread because he loves bread. And he was saying milk.
Okay.
I was make them watching cartoons, but only in French. Because I knew that in America, they're going to go to school, they will learn English.
Right.
So since I don't know how to talk my native language, I only have French. That's the only language I taught them when they were little. So I was putting the TV, everything at home in French. So he has a particular of a show that he was watching, and in the show, I remember the little boy will always say catastrophe when something happened. And Ethan was doing catastrophe. So we were laughing. But in fact, when I knew he got diagnosed with autism, we call that echolia. Echolia is a sign for kids with autism. They are not able to have a real conversation with you, like a meaningful conversation. My name is Ethan. I'm 2 years old. I have my mom, my dad, and my brother. No, they cannot do that. Some kids in the spectrum, that's why it's a spectrum. Because the range of how it affects individuals. Some are very, very severely affected. Others are mild. Others are high functioning. And usually when they are high functioning, they can talk, they can communicate with you, but you will notice that they have troubles, maybe finding their way, or, getting concentrated. There is a focus sometimes, it's an issue with the high functioning one. But for Ethan, at that time, I've just noticed that my son was doing giving me some words. And he was repeating, but for me, it was funny. I never thought about the problem. And I remember when he turns 18 months, we were already here in Texas, and there is a milestone now. You have a checkup, like a routine checkup at 18 months. So when I went to the pediatrician, I explained that to her. Hey, this is funny. He copied me when I say, Kevin, come. Kevin, come. Sometimes I was like, Ethan, stop copying mommy. But when I would talk to him, how was your day? What are you eating? Nothing. So that was the second time.
That's another symptom. Okay.
Another symptom. And I told her, this is the problem. He was pointing. He would point at the stuff like he wants milk. He used to know milk. No milk. He knew to say bread. No more bread. He was just pointing and crying. And when you don't understand, sometimes you just enter the pantry and point. But what do you need, Ethan? Tell me what you need. I don't know if it's cereal. I don't know if it's rice. I don't know if it's candy, chocolate, cookies. Tell me what you need. He was just pointing. And he got frustrated. And the meltdowns, this is another sign. They would cry non-stop. When I say non-stop, they can cry 30 minutes to 1 hour. So, and then she told me, when does that happen? So she was trying to understand when it happens and everything. I told her, I cannot really tell you, but I have just noticed it maybe 2 months ago. She would say, okay. And then that's the first time I heard the word autism.
Okay.
Because you need to understand that as pediatrician, not all of them are trained. This is something that is very difficult because some pediatricians can pass by the of autism. Maybe now that the numbers are growing up,
right?
Because 2020 it was 1 in 54. And then it went in 2022 to 1 child in 44. And today is 1 in 36.
So what do you really want people to understand about autism?
So I want people to understand that autism is a neurodevelopmental condition that affects social, communication, life skill in general. But it doesn't mean that a kid with autism should be left behind. Therapies are there to help them. As soon as we start therapies earlier, better outcome will be. And I'm the proof. My son got diagnosed at the age 2 and 9 months. By the age 3, that means 3 months later, I was like, I'm a tourist. And tourists are people who just go.
Like Nadine.
Hi.
So would you recommend to people outside, if, like, for example, I see that there's something that seems wrong with a kid that I know, would you recommend for people outside to go and talk to the parents or to just not even try to interfere because you might hurt their feelings?
This is a really great question. And I would say, depending on the
relation that you have,
relation type you have with the person. If it's your bestie, I would tell you, call her one day she's happy, or that she's not going through a lot right now in her life, or it can be at work, or personal life. You will find the right time to talk to her, because right time is really important. for her to understand and then to listen to you. So if it's somebody that you're not too close, I would suggest you talk to somebody that you know is very close. Because especially, I'm not talking for the dad part. My husband suffered as well, but I'm talking as a mom, my experience.
Yeah.
It was very, very difficult. And I cannot even imagine somebody would just come to me and say, hey, you don't know how to discipline your child? He's been here going on the chairs and, crying, breaking everything.
What are some things that people might have done or might do that some reaction that might hurt the mom or the dad of a child on the spectrum that you would like to recommend people please refrain from doing or saying?
So this is an awesome question. By the way, I am on Instagram, I'm on Facebook, on TikTok and YouTube. And since it's Autism Awareness Month, I post every 2 days some content, really important and educative content. So one of that was people look. When I by people look is how you feel the look of the people.
Judging you. Actually, they are judging you by the look.
They are judging you by the look. Sometimes you don't have to talk to somebody to be rude. Just looking at the person, the expression will tell a lot. And regardless of the kid's condition, this is something that I learned not to do.
Advice you are going to give to mom or parents who have a child with autism: don't hide it, don't keep it a secret. Be upfront with it so that you're more comfortable and people understand also how the dynamic around your child, right?
But listen, it's not that something is easier, that is easy to do. Before you get to that point, you need to accept the condition of your kids.
Right.
A lot of our folks are on the deny, or they pretend to be on the deny, or they just don't want to share.
And this is something like you are on our platform. Our thing is, why do life alone? Femme 31, we want to be that sisterhood that some people don't have.
Yes.
You might not have somebody that you can go and talk to. Like, we are blessed to have sisters. We chat all the time, but some women don't have that.
Yes.
So we want to be able to give that voice to all these women. If you need help, if you have questions, there's help out there.
Yes.
So for example, for your platform, you have an organization that you actually created. And we're going to add the link to it so that people can go and get plugged in and meet other moms in this situation so that you know you're not alone, and to try to remove that stigma.
That stigma. And then, like, even, and I appreciate you. It's an honor for me to be here on your platform today. And this is really, really important to understand. And I want to talk to mom out there who have kids on the spectrum. It is not your fault. You have done nothing. You are doing an amazing job raising those child. By the way, I personally feel like it's a blessing to have a kid on the spectrum. Maybe because at the point of acceptance, I totally accept my son's condition. And a lot of moms are not there yet. And it takes a process, I understand. But they get there. The only thing I can tell them is never give up on your child. Never. You need to be the first cheerleader. You need to be the voice. You need to be the advocate. If you don't believe in your child, nobody will believe.
That's true. Yeah.
No
Exactly.
one. So focus on small things. Like, I'm getting emotional because this is, like I told, this deep topic is really, I feel like it's in my blood when I talk about autism. One of my videos on my platform was the life value lesson that my son taught me. One being patient. I wasn't a patient person. I need to do my stuff. It has to be right now. Ethan taught me the beauty of being patient. So it's not always bad.
What services or support do you get for Ethan? That would be one. Have you noticed any progress from the support that he's getting?
Yes. Awesome question. Earlier, I talked about the top 3 therapies.
Yes. Right.
A lot of therapies. There is a lot. I mean, there is studies about autism. Unfortunately, we don't know the causes. There is some, the CDC, which is Central Disease Control, said that it might be related to the age of the parents. And then that parents who are older have more chance to get kids on the spectrum than others. There is many. Why I'm telling you that, once you got the diagnosis of your child, don't even look at, is it because I got my son after 40? Is it because I got my son at 45? Don't pay attention to that. It doesn't matter. What matters is now. What
are you gonna do? Yes.
What you gotta do? And that was my mindset. That was my mindset. I had to take personal decision. I had to stop working as a nurse because I knew that going out for 3 days, 4 days, and sometime on the weekends without seeing my son on the spectrum will not help him on the process. So I sat with my husband and I told him I made a decision to stop working as a nurse, at least for a certain time, because I didn't want him to get mad at me. And of course, we wanted to buy a house, so he would be the only person to provide. So all that was, difficult.
The financial,
Really, those are little challenging. So he had to agree on me, and I had to explain it to him why I came up with that decision. So as soon as I decided to quit working as a nurse, my only focus, and when I tell you my only focus, I was praying non-stop. I was fasting. Everything, I was living for my son. I got the stamina, everything, like he need to succeed. If I stop working, if I put my career on the side, I need to see progress. I have to, God help me. We need to see progress. So I was putting Ethan everywhere, starting with ABA therapy, which is for me the top one.
So AB stands for?
Apply Behavior Analysis. ABA. It's a type of technique that we're not changing the kids, but we're changing the environment for the kid to succeed. Give you an example. You know that if you want Ethan to achieve, let's say, sitting still, because this is something that a lot of kids on the spectrum doesn't sit still, they're always agitated. That's why sometimes people think they have ADHD. So one of the goals for Ethan was sitting still, right? So we know that it's going to be a challenge to make Ethan sit. for, let's say we're going to start for maybe 2 minutes. We want you to sit down. So in order to achieve that, we place Ethan in the condition that's going to bring him to the success of sitting still. So we're going to tell him, if you sit still or you sit on your hand for 1 minute, we're going to give you cookies, because he loved cookies at that time. So we're going to put 2 cookies in front of Ethan. But in order to get the cookies, you got to sit still. And it's not easy. When I talk like that, of course, you're going to try to reach the cookies and eat it fast. But you have to be careful. And then you say, even if just sit, you got to reinforce positive action.
I have a question for you, because at some point, when we started the conversation, you were talking about the tantrum, he will be crying and being frustrated. So when you try those type of incentives to get to a certain outcome, wasn't he getting frustrated by having to wait? And so no outbursts or nothing was going on?
He would get frustrated. That's why I say it's not always easy.
So are you going somewhere for those therapy, or are they coming to you?
So the ABA therapy, there is some who will come to you, and there is some that will say, no, we just do clinic.
Okay.
And he's doing both, clinic and home. Why? Because he's getting older. He's 11, preteen next year, right? So I want him to be independent as much as possible. That's why I started 2 years ago, home therapy.
Okay.
But depending on the stage of your child, how affected he is, some will tell you that no, we don't recommend home. Let's do clinic. Why? Because those kids need to have a routine. That's a very important thing that I have to tell you as well. Individuals with autism, they are routinely made. They have a routine that I know that Ethan woke up at this time. He needs to have this. You change the routine. That's how meltdowns happen. That's how tantrum. That's how frustration and everything starts. Really important. That's another advice I give to young women with newly diagnosed children who listen to us, to make sure they follow the routine. At the beginning, it's going to be difficult, challenging, especially if you have other kids. Personally, I have 4. When he got diagnosed, I had a baby in hands. It was tough. But with time, you just arrange your schedule to that. And it's really important that
can you travel with him, or you've not tried?
Oh my God, thank you about this question. Traveling was a nightmare when he was little. Nightmare. Like the first trip we had with Ethan, it was to Paris. I was so excited. Oh, I got to see my family, my in-laws. My husband told me, okay, since you're traveling with 2 small children, I'm going to get you a direct flight, which was a great idea, but not a great idea for Ethan. He was 10 years in the plane.
10 hours.
It was crazy. Like, he was like, where am I? He couldn't sleep. He couldn't play. Jumping is something that a lot of kids on the spectrum will do. Walking, they will do this. They like it, Those are stuff, you call that steaming. Those are stuff that make them feel good. For you, it's annoying, but for them, make them feel good. So sometimes allow that. Some kids would do voicing like a sound. Oh. Give them maybe steaming time. We're going to be steaming for 30 minutes, but after steaming, maybe we walk, maybe we go to shopping, maybe we go biking, but you cannot stop them from steaming because it's inside them. Good thing is that therapy is help. fading that. You will not even notice that they stop once you start the therapies. Mm-hmm. So it was a nightmare. Back into your question. It was difficult, but this is my advice for the parents out there. You got to start when they are little. If you always avoid plane, avoid long rides by car, because oh no, he won't make it. Oh my God, no, it's going to be miserable for me. Think about this. The only 3 or 4 or 5. Think about this when they're going to be 18 years.
So you have the ABA therapy. You do also occupational therapy
and speech therapy.
And speech. Okay.
All kids on the spectrum need speech therapy.
Correct.
And that's why that confuses sometimes a lot of parents. No, I don't think he has autism. I don't think she has autism, because the kid is verbal.
He's verbal.
But it doesn't mean because the kids, if you got the diagnosis from the clinical diagnosis of autism, there is a reason why. Because we not only evaluate the speech, we evaluate social. You can have a kid that she's socially talking fine, but she has trouble with connecting with people. She has trouble with focusing. So it's a spectrum, and it doesn't mean that because your child is verbal that he doesn't have autism. That's a misconception that other parents have about autism.
Right.
Yeah.
So speaking of the therapy, for those who live in the US, with our medical and insurance, how it works, is this covered by insurance, or do the parents have to pay out of pocket?
Good question. Very good question. That's the problem. ABA therapy is very expensive. Even though you have a PPO plan insurance, you still have a copy of $80 per session.
And how often do you do the sessions?
You have to, that's what they recommend. The CDC recommend a minimum of 20 hours per week. So do 20 hours per week by 80 and you feel, you see?
Wow.
I will tell you something funny. Sometimes I tell people, if I didn't have a kid on the spectrum, I would be a millionaire.
What is that device called?
Touch chat.
Okay.
So it was introduced to us via the speech therapist.
Okay.
And not all the kids on the spectrum benefit that, because there is an evaluation, since it's totally reimbursed. The kid need to be in the condition, in the criteria to get that device. So it can start with that device at the age of 8. Now it's 7. And you were asking me earlier if I saw some improvement. Yes. He can use that all the time. So sometime before we get that device, I always thought, since my son is food related, I'm not joking, my son loves to eat. And I always thought, he's getting frustrated, he probably needs a snack, no, he just wanted to go out, jump in the trampoline, play basketball, dribble. He was always good, so it saved our life. And he will communicate. So sometimes he come to you, he say, there is a voice, a child voice, and there is all the information. Let's say Ethan can find his way back home, and the bus drop him, maybe not in my house, but somebody's house. And if somebody just notice that there is a kid wandering in the neighborhood, you open Ethan backpack, you got that communication device there with his name, his age, his home address, his parents' contact numbers. So I take this opportunity to tell anybody who is listening to us, if you see a child wandering when you are your way home or to work, please stop. Look for signs, because kids with autism, parents usually put a bracelet with the identification, contact number, name, address. It could be on the neck, on the feet, or inside the backpack, on the wrist. It's always somewhere. So this is another red flag. Kids that like to elope. Elopement is when you go out without noticing somebody in the house. They love to do that. You will notice that sometimes you are at a friend's house with your child, and maybe you don't know that he has autism. One day, a certain time, you panic. Where is my son? Where is my daughter? Because typical kids, they will stay close to you. They won't go out of the house. The kids with autism, for certain reason, we don't know why. They just wanted to play. Like, I don't believe to this place. I don't know why I'm here. Let me get out. Honestly.
Based on the experience and the exchange that you had with other parents with autism, so what will you say are don'ts, for children with autism? I know that the children are different, but in general, what would you say are the don'ts? Because many parents don't really know exactly, autism, yes, autism, but they are letting their kids just to do things. They're accepting the tantrums that the kids are throwing. So,
or even their diets, they might be not feeding them whatever, but I think there's certain diet and even their sleep. So yeah.
If I had to give an advice and what helped me, I would say that, and again, this is a balance. Everybody needs to see if it works with their kids or not. For me, I had to change Ethan diet. I would say, don't give them milk if it was me. Why? Because there is a relation between mind and jihad. There are even studies. I cannot tell you the exact when the study was conducted and everything, but it kept on coming. Now I can consider myself to be in the field for more than Ethan got diagnosed at the age of 3, let's say like that, and now he's 11, so 8 years now. That I'm in this journey of autism. So I have learned a lot, and I can just give what worked for my son. You know what I mean? And what I didn't, I think it was a wise decision not to do it. One being not giving him milk products, one being putting him on gluten-free diet. That helps my son a lot. I was working with my stuff. Other parents would tell you, oh no, he's on gluten-free diet. I cannot go to the parties. Why? Don't do that. Don't do that. They are kids. They wanted to interact with their peers, even though they are on the autism spectrum. They wanted to play. Why would you keep your son, your daughter at home because they have autism? Why? This is another thing I would say, don't do it. The more you expose them to the light, you expose them to noise, because you will notice a lot of kids on the spectrum has headphones. My son never wear headphones. I bring Ethan to the movie theater. You see the movie theater with the sound? Ethan play with that. Why? Because when he was 4, my oldest was asking me to go to the movie theater. I cannot always tell him, no, we can't. Ethan has autism. His life would be miserable too. So I had to teach Ethan to tolerate the noise of the movie theater. We went. The first time I spent money for all 3 tickets, but I didn't even see the movie. Kevin was the only one. I was at the door, afraid that somebody gonna get my son. I'm a bad mom. Why did I came to the movie theater? But today I'm saying, Sandrine, you were right. Now we tolerate. We have family time in our own movie theater. Ethan is here. He is inside. We go to the beach. That's another thing. The contact of the sand with his skin. Oh my God, he was like crying. But I had to introduce little by little. I was holding him, and then I was grabbing the sand, put it a little bit on his hands, and then tell him, see, mommy put on her feet. Nothing happened. You can tolerate too. Little by little. But don't say, oh no, my son, I can't. Even your life. Live only for your child. That's the life you want. You need to ask you the question, what type of life I want? Having a child on the spectrum doesn't mean you need to lose everything. You need to lose your friends. You need to lose your husband, even though there is a high rate of divorce among the kids, the parents that has kids on the spectrum, unfortunately. But my advice would be, try to bring them as soon as possible, expose them to the stuff that triggers them. That's the only way. Tomorrow, you will look at yourself and say, wow, go out with your son, go out with your daughter. It's going to be difficult, the eyes of the other people, but it's okay. Take that opportunity to educate them on autism. You know, it's not, maybe they look at you like, oh, she's having a hard time disciplining her child, but she never heard about the word autism. So try to calm your son, your daughter, and if she's still around you. Earlier, I'm easy with contact. I'm an easygoing person. I love to talk to people. I know maybe it's not everybody, personality, but I would say if you are this type of person, sit close to her and you say, I'm so sorry that my son was crying that much. And she might ask you, oh, maybe he has anxiety. You say, no, he has autism. And educate her on what is autism. And maybe tomorrow when she will look at another kid, she say, oh, I met a lady. Maybe he has autism, maybe not. And teach her how she can be a support to you. Because the looking might make people frustrated, and then, and you don't want that as a parent of a child on the spectrum, that they're judging you or they're having pity for you. I was hating that somebody has a pity for me. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I didn't.
I was gonna ask that. How does it feel when somebody will tell you, oh, I'm so sorry?
Oh, no.
No?
Personally, okay. I don't like that.
Okay.
I don't like that. I don't want you to have pity for me.
Okay.
Because the reality is everybody has his own issue out there.
Right.
Nobody has a happy life or no problem at all. Everybody's dealing with something. It might be a child who has autism, or a family who is dealing with cancer, or a loss of employment, or there is plenty for reason. So don't feel pity for me. That one, I was like, nope.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Sandrine. It was really, really nice chatting with you.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. And please feel free to share my contact info.
Will do.
Our website, theautismblueminds.org.
Okay.
We have plenty of resources, and
we'll add your Instagram, your website, all that. We'll add
everything. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for
chatting, y'all.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.